Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because right now we start switching
Switching
grooves.
Grooves. Sorry, I was
You're all right.
trying to pull my news up that I had.
Perfectly fine, bud.
So, from my understanding, Stuart Haas is back on the map. Have you heard the same?
I have.
So, I don't know how much dirt news you have, but if you want to start, we can start. If not, I will get right into NASCAR.
This week we're going to go ahead and stick with NASCAR. I have been super busy after work every day with some stuff to even catch up on dirt racing. If I have to, I'll do another episode just for that. But I'm sure by now everybody's seen all the news anyway. Dirt racing news travels pretty fast. So,
So, well, let's start off with we'll do this in reverse this week. This past week, we have a new winner. The playoffs have finally been set, but one of those feel good wins this week, Chase Briscoe held off Kyle Busch for the second time in history to win at Darlington. The first time it was at an Xfinity race, and I believe it was 2020 with no fans, and now we've got him beating Kyle Busch to knock Kyle out of the playoffs and send Stuart Haas into the playoffs with their only driver that made it this year. So I'm kind of excited that they won a race. It's one of those feel good Cinderella stories. At the same time, I don't see him going very far, but I would like to see them go far. I don't think it's going to go very far though. Um, but on top of Chase Briscoe winning to get into the playoffs, Tyler Reddick beat Kyle Larson by 1 point to win the regular season championship, which literally means absolute nothing because normally if you win the regular season championship, you don't win the playoffs. So we can write 23-11 off for the championship this year, theoretically. But he did all
theoretically,
that and still was was sick and still beat Kyle Larson, which is quite impressive. The fact that, it was coming out both ends, and he still beat Kyle by 1 point, which is perseverance and Iron Man itself. So definitely one of those feel good wins, but definitely a really crappy day for Tyler Reddick. No pun intended. But we've also had some silly season news. I'm trying to think who it was now, but I know that. Darn, now I gotta go back and look at my notes.
hey, before we go much further, I see that Dueling decided to join us, and I want to give him a huge shout out for his birthday, which is actually tomorrow, but he's celebrating tonight. So happy birthday, Richard. Sure miss having you. The very person that helped start this all. I appreciate you helping me get it going, man, and I hope everything's going well for you.
Happy birthday, Richard. So I got to go back to my notes because I had notes this week.
Richard's a big 39.
Holy cow, one more till he's almost middle aged. Just kidding. Oh man, I got to pull it up now. I did have notes made, and apparently they didn't save, so I have to go back through my highlight reels.
Nathan had notes.
I had made notes this week, mental
So,
notes at that, but they were some sort of studying up for this week.
so while you're doing that, I did see a video of Kyle Busch actually in the media center saying that Parker Retzlaff doesn't owe him any apology
That was one of them, yeah.
for
I had to go back and look and see what I missed.
for not helping push him to the
Oh,
win. I mean, he's not even the Kyle said he's not even included in those Chevy team meetings and stuff like that. So why would he help?
that's fair. I mean,
But
To be honest, a lot of those part-time guys, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a Beard Motorsports car, or at least it used to be. I don't think they're ever included. They have so many different drivers that I don't think the drivers even know to be, in those meetings. Heck, for all we know, they had that meeting during the Xfinity race. He was in the Xfinity race, so it's not like he would have been able to go to it. But I almost forgot about some more Darlington news. Uh, with Chase Briscoe making the playoffs, it eliminated not only Kyle Busch, but Chris Buescher, who came up short at least 3 times on a short end of the stick racing deals most of the season. That was one of those can't believe he couldn't catch a break type of deals, kind of like Kyle Busch. Bubba was involved in a crash, and somehow, some way, Ross Chastain didn't make it, partly because Chase Briscoe made probably one of the sketchiest yet ballsy moves I have ever seen to go from fourth to first in the span of a corner, which I got to give him credit. That takes a lot of guts to send it in there and make it stick. Because I didn't think he was going to stick it. I figured he was going to wipe out the leaders. And somehow he managed to keep it off Chastain, not run over Hamlin or Larson, and more or less drive away from Larson. So that's one of those send it in there and hope it sticks. And I didn't think it was going to stick, but it was one of those crazy bonsai moves. Another highlight from the race is lap 2. A veteran, Martin Truex Jr., just flat out choked on lap 2 and takes out Ryan Blaney. Like, I mean, he said it best himself. He's an idiot. I don't know where he was going. He sent it in there and just went for a ride. And that's what happened. Somehow he made the playoffs, but I'm not sure on that one. That was one of those what were you thinking moves. But
I
um
I did you see the reaction from Wallace after the race? I mean, he was
yeah,
just
he
pouting over his car, and
defeated. Now I don't know if we've covered the schedule since it released. I don't think we've had an episode, have we? I don't think we did.
I don't think
I'm
we
trying to
have.
think what day it released. But on top of all of this, NASCAR's released their new schedule, and Truck Series has added a race. They also get Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. So all the boys up in Connecticut that love watching NASCAR but have to drive either to New Hampshire or Watkins Glen, you guys got a race now. Congratulations. Yet somehow NASCAR managed to like I don't know 12 hours from the Texas Mexico border. You're going to get
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. You lost your camera and everything. Yeah, I don't know what happened to your camera. So hang on a second here. It literally just booted you right out of the scene. So yeah, I have to add you back. I'm not sure if they can hear you or not. If anyone's watching, can you still hear Nathan? Huh.
Nothing comes up on my end. How about now?
Hang
Can you guys hear me now? Oh, there I am, right in the middle of the screen now.
Well,
I
yeah, but
was watching my phone because it wasn't coming up.
that's not working because it's covering us up. There.
Oh no! But I forget where we left off now.
She says you
Ha
got black
ha ha
flagged.
ha ha! Ashley, that's real funny. I got demonetized for being too cool. I guess. I don't know. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to rebuild the scene here, bud.
Test it, see if it's any good, and then we go
There you
to
go.
Rockingham next year. So hopefully they'll bring Rockingham back for the Cup Series. Um, Kind of disappointed they aren't in there, but the Truck Series did add an extra date, which is kind of nice. And the Xfinity Series not only got Mexico City, but they got Rockingham, which is kind of cool. Um, they took away a Richmond date, which, in my opinion, the Richmond date that they took away really wasn't that good. Richmond hasn't really produced the best racing, in my opinion, I guess. I mean, it comes down to the restart line type of ordeal, and there really wasn't, you know, the only highlight from the year that really drew much attention was Austin Dillon dumping Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano. The whole jump in the start thing was, kind of brushed under the rug when it came to that Austin Dillon wreck. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't feel like Richmond produces the best racing. I mean, the next gen car just doesn't, it really doesn't, you know, do well there, I guess. Like, I hate to see them take it off the schedule in general, but if it's got at least one date, it minimizes, you know, the loss because there really isn't much going on for that race, unfortunately. But another one is I think we did speak of it a little bit. Uh, Bowman Gray is now the Clash. Now I saw a report somewhere that they are not going to run the track that they normally run on Bowman Gray, and I feel like that is going to ruin it. So if that is the case, don't NASCAR. Please do not change the course. Just let them run it. Maybe put a concrete barrier right in the middle, just a straight line from turn 3 and 4 to 1 and 2 in the middle, but leave the grassy area in the infield. Don't, don't shorten this track any more than it is. Don't turn it into a mini Martinsville or a mini Coliseum. Just run the course the way it is. Maybe you could put, an infield tractor tire like they do in dirt racing on the infield on the inside of the corner so people can't cut through the grass. But I don't want any of this, modifying a track inside of another track type of thing. We already have enough of that with the Roval. I like the Roval. I kind of would like to see the Roval stay, but at the same time, I do understand that the racing is better during the 600 weekend. So I'm hoping a day race like they did with the Roval would work. But then again, NASCAR does whatever they want to do at that point. I mean, they have made some good calls lately with, not giving Austin Dillon that win. But at the same time, these cars are not staying on the ground, and they added a shark fin, and that made it go faster.
I'm not
I
sure
don't
if
know.
they add. I'm not sure if they added that to just super speedways or
Who in the world is Chevy Guy?
that's dueling.
Oh, who's the bartender? Do I even want to know?
No, he needs to stay away from women. We
Yeah.
just leave it at that.
But yeah, just I kind of wish NASCAR would just get rid of this next gen car. I mean, we have beat this so many times that it just needs to go away. I know NASCAR put a lot of time into this car, but it is an absolute dumpster fire. We've injured more drivers than we have helped them. We need to get rid of it. Just make it a single car like it was before and be done with it. It's not good. Um, but hopefully these next few playoff races go well. I did see Dale Jr.'s picks. That I think it was I forget who they said it. Who he said it was now. It was going to be Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, and somebody else. I can't think of the other one was. But I cannot. I mean, if those four don't get in, or if Bell does not get eliminated in the round of 8, he will win the championship. Supposedly, that's coming from Dale Jr. I like the thought of Christopher Bell making the final 4. I don't see him winning it, but I do see it as a plausible uh, result for the. Yeah, it's very, very. It's not unusual to think that. I guess I'm trying to think what the word I want to use is, but it's not unrealistic for him to make the final 4. He's made it like the last 2 years, I think. So if he can get in, he'll probably finish runner up. But I don't know if he's got that champ. He don't know if he's got the championship level quite yet or the championship capabilities. He's come close. I don't think he wins this year though.
I don't either.
But I'll make my picks on the championship 4. I don't know if you want to do the same, Russ, but via the standings right now, I believe it's Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson. I gotta wait for it to load. Currently, that's not. Oh no, via the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and Alex Bowman are above the cut line right now, but even though the races haven't started. Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton, Ty Gibbs, and Martin Truex Jr. round out the top 16. Who do you see moving on to the round of 12?
The first 4 out, I believe, are going to be definitely Harrison Burton. He kind of got lucky. Not to take anything away from him, but that team doesn't run as well as all these other teams, and it was just a luck was on his side. So I definitely believe that it'll be
So Harrison's out.
Harrison Burton out, Daniel Suarez out. Oh, sitting
You
here looking
got
at it.
we got
Um,
Martin Truex Jr., Ty Gibbs, Briscoe, Bowman, and Cindric are all around that bubble too right now.
Cindric. So I'll go with Cindric, Burton, Briscoe, and Suarez.
Okay, so you think Truex will make it on, Gibbs will make it on, and Bowman.
Yeah, Gibbs has been running pretty well here lately.
Okay. I can see those two. I would hope Truex makes it on. Um my first 4 out I am probably going to say will be Briscoe because we got what? We have Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and Bristol. Um my first 4 out, I gotta find the button again. My first 4 out will probably be Harrison Burton and Alex Bowman. I don't think will make it past this round. If he does, great. I can't see him moving on.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see him moving on, but maybe the next round would be the last round for him.
yeah, I have Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton, and Austin Cindric are going to be 3 of the 4. I think I'm going to say. I think I'm going to say. What is it? I gotta say Bowman. Bowman doesn't really do well on road courses. these tracks really don't play to his specialties, I don't think. I mean, he was up front at Coda with AJ Allmendinger and Ross Chastain. I haven't seen him run up front since, at least on road courses that I know of. Um, so I can't. I don't think. I think it's going to be Cindric, Bowman, Briscoe, and Burton are the first four out. I think Ty Gibbs will make it in. I think Suarez will barely make it.
Hey, check it out. John Philip Kowski is watching. That's actually uh, my really, really close friend. My like one of my dudes. I've known this guy for 30 plus years, and he's actually the man that created our intro videos. So, what's up, John?
Cool.
How are you?
I'm trying to look for that
Uh,
stuff because I can't see that.
and he's actually going to be the one making shirts when I can come up with enough money.
Cool. But yeah, that's my first four out. I have Bowman, Cindric, Burton, and Briscoe out on the first four. I cannot see if Bowman makes it through this round. I don't think he'll make it through the next round. I gotta look and see what the next round is to be sure, but I can't see him going past that. Right about the cutoff line, I could see those four being eliminated. I mean, the one win wonders are the ones that I'm seeing as on the way out. I mean, if Cindric, Suarez, Bowman, Briscoe, Burton, Gibbs, and Truex are all going to be in danger these next 3 weeks. I think Gibbs and Truex will move on. The other four, I'm really questioning if they'll make it. I mean, Joey has made it to where he's running up front a little more, but I don't think he'll make it past. I don't think he'll make it past the round of 12. That's the one that I'm questioning. I think Gibbs will be out in round of 12 also, but those guys are the ones I question. Can they actually perform under that much pressure because they've really been struggling?
Now, see here. So, take away my guys. What did I say? Cindric, Soares, Briscoe, and Burton. So, the next round in 12 for me, it would probably be definitely Brad Keselowski. Um,
I'm not going to write Brad off yet. I mean, I will say that Kansas is not the best for him, and definitely not the Charlotte Roval. But Brad has come to play every single time at Talladega. I could see Talladega being his one shot. If he doesn't do well at Talladega, then yeah, he's eliminated in round of 12. But I I think if he can get in, or if he can stay above the cut line, I think he can get in. I really think he'll make it to the round of 8. Or I think he'll definitely make it past this round. I don't know about round of 12. He's
and
got one good track there.
and the one big reason that I didn't count out William Byron in this first round is because we have Watkins Glen. He's been really dominant on road courses this year. So
Now he's also been really dominant at what was the other tracks he won on this year? He's got quite a few this year that have surprised me. I mean, his super speedway cars, for some reason at the end the second Talladega race, he always manages to show up. Was it last year he finished second, or maybe it was 2 years ago because he finished second because Harvick got DQ'd for his rear window, I think it was. But Harvick, I mean, that one I was kind of surprised. I mean, he's got what, 4 wins this year? He's got Martinsville. Let's see. He had Daytona, Road or Circuit of the Americas, Martinsville, and there was one more. I think it was. I'm just looking for it. I think it was Darlington.
But my final four will probably be, Larson, Bell, Hamlin, and Blaney.
I gotta look and see what mine are gonna be. Um, If they can manage to pull it off, I can see Larson, Byron. I unfortunately I got to eliminate Elliott. I don't think he'll make the round of 4. If he
I
does
don't
by
either.
some miraculous means, and they can manage to get Bowman that far, then I know Mr. H wants all 4 drivers in the championship 4. Realistically, there is no way that's going to happen. If they can get 2 of them in, they'll be lucky. I mean,
Yeah, but it's
I really think Larson and Byron will make the final 4, but I'm questionable on Byron. I gotta say, unfortunately, Denny, but I don't think he'll win. Denny, Larson, Bell, and
so you're
I'm going out a limb on this one. I might say Reddick. I mean, we've got Vegas, or if Reddick can make it past, win at Kansas, and somehow squeak by in the round of 8, because I know that 2311 is really good at Kansas. If Reddick can make it through Kansas and get through Vegas, it's very, very possible that he will make the championship 4. But it's Las Vegas has not been his best track. That's been more of a Ford track or JGR track. Um, Reddick,
Ford's
I don't
been
see doing well at Martinsville. Uh, I kind of think that Homestead or Vegas is going to be their best chance at getting one of them onto the next round. Um, but I'm going to set my final 4 as Larson, Bell, Hamlin, and I think Blaney got lucky last year. Uh, I'm gonna probably say Byron if he can manage to make it by the if he can make it past the Roval and Talladega. I think he'll be on to the next round because they got Martinsville, and you know darn well that Hendrick Motorsports is going to put their best into Martinsville. If they can manage to get on to the round of 8, they're going to give all 4 drivers a chance to either win or spoil it for the others. And I really think that'll be, when it comes down to Martinsville, Hendrick is going to come to play, and they're going to do whatever it takes to move on to the next round. And I think that's going to be where we have multiple drivers from Hendrick going in. Blaney, I feel like Blaney got lucky last year with Martinsville. I I don't think he can do it twice. I really don't. He hasn't had the performance I feel at Martinsville. But Penske has had their glistens of performance there. I mean, yes, it came through Joey Logano wrecking people, but at the same time, it's not like it's out of reason to think that somebody from Penske or somebody from Hendrick could win that race.
in my
If Penske
in
can manage to make it that far, then yes, they will put somebody into the final 4.
in my opinion, it's going to be either Blaney or Logano. It'll be one of those 2 Penske cars. But
For
Penske will
some reason, I
definitely.
have a funny feeling that Larson is going to finish this one off. He choked at Iowa. I want to see Denny get pissed off again at Martinsville. When Bowman more or less shipped him, because I was at that race and it wasn't really a. I don't qualify that as a shipping him. I think Denny pinched him and he got punted. But at the same time, if you can eliminate Denny Hamlin at Martinsville, you've now opened up a can of worms that could open it up for the other 3. If he's focused on one guy, that opens it up for the other 3. And I'd love to see him eliminated early, but I think it's going to come down to push comes to shove, and Larson will pay him back eventually when it counts the most. Honestly, I'd love to see him taken out at Phoenix, and that. I would love to see Hamlin, make the Final 4 and it all go up in smoke for the 18th year in a row. Would love for that to happen. Heck, I'd love for him just to be eliminated at Martinsville and be done with it, but we rather not have the suspense.
I don't know. It's
But
actually, it's actually a really good group of guys, and it's not like last year when we had you know guys like Stenhouse and
I
you know,
think this is a decent bunch this year. Yes, there are a few that I question how they made it. Harrison Burton being one of them. Um, Honestly, a really good wild card for the Final Four. If Briscoe can manage to make it out of the round of 16, I feel like he might have a shot. But it's a very slim
but
chance.
I
But
just
if he
don't
can
see
make it
it.
to the round of 8, it's definitely a very 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 small chance. But let's think of it this way. Let me go back down my list so I can find it to read the next one. Atlanta, he doesn't. I mean, the Fords did kind of run up front. Briscoe isn't the greatest there. I will say that. Um, but Briscoe also has shown up at Bristol, I feel like. Atlanta, not really. Watkins Glen, can't see him doing much there. But if he can manage to squeak by, at least keep the car clean at Atlanta and Watkins Glen, I feel like he could point his way in without a win, but he could point his way into the round of 12. When it comes to the round of 12, or when it comes to the elimination for the round of 12, Briscoe could make some ground up at the Roval. Not the greatest, but he managed to do decent the 1 year. And then, of course, he got caught holding up. He let Cole Custer into the next round, which I feel like had he been fine, he would have made it in. Talladega is obviously the wild card. So that gives him a chance there. I see him making the round of 8, but I can't see him doing much more. But the only chance I could see is Homestead. I know Briscoe is a dirt track racer, and I know he knows how to run the cushion, just like Larson and Reddick. If he can channel that dirt car experience, I think he could run the fence and do exactly what Larson and Reddick does.
I
I
I
really
just
think that they could come to play.
and I don't say it to take anything away from Chase's driving abilities. I just say it because the team has been underperforming for we
Yes.
God knows how long, and that's unfortunate for Chase himself.
I
But
feel like he's
I just
overdriving the equipment.
I just can't see the team itself moving on.
That's fair.
So I mean,
I I
I
would
am
like
not.
to think it, but at the same time, you do have a valid point with that. Also, is I can't see them. We're talking about Stuart Haas here, so you are fair with that one. Is they managed to get
It is,
lucky by beating Bush,
yeah.
but
It's nothing at all against Briscoe's driving ability whatsoever. I mean, I'm excited to see him move on to a really good team next year. So
I mean he's going to
uh,
be with
that's
JGR, so that should be interesting.
it's actually gonna.
I honestly am kind of surprised by that move. Um, I feel like they definitely took a chance. Out of all the drivers at Stuart Haas, that wasn't the one I would have thought they would have taken. But at the same time, I can't see couldn't have seen Barry really going there because
I was thinking it was going to be Gregson because of just the brashness and the young, and him and Ty would get along really well.
I see that one I question because there was run-ins with those two before,
Yeah,
and
but it
also Hemrick. It doesn't Hemrick sometimes drive for JGR, as I know that they
uh,
have had a run-in. They had a run-in in Atlanta.
but I think once those two could put that aside, and
Yeah,
I'm sure Joe Gibbs would literally make them sit down and say, "Hey, okay, no matter what's happened in the past, it's over with. You guys need to, you
I
know,
mean even their Xfinity team next year. I'm not gonna lie, it does not look great. JGR's Xfinity team picking up Sheldon Creed and or not Sheldon Creed, sending Sheldon Creed to Stuart Haas. I or not Stuart Haas, Haas factory team. I feel like they should have just sent them there to start with because Sheldon
Well, see,
underperformed.
did you
He
see
didn't
that
do
video
much.
with Sheldon Creed? He's actually paying to play, so he's paying for that ride at Gibbs this
Yeah,
year.
I
So
I
I
don't think
don't.
they make any money to start with. I saw a video somewhere else explaining that, and to be fair, that's what everybody's doing. I mean, if you really think about it, if you have sponsorship, of course you're going to be pay to play because everybody's pay to play. I mean, William Byron's Liberty University. That's essentially what it is. I mean, he brought that sponsorship. That is a big sponsorship to him. Uh, Kyle, or not Kyle, Chase Elliott brought on Napa. He was the Napa car at Junior Motorsports. It makes sense there. I mean, Ally, I think
Yeah, but they kind of they also.
Ally coming from Jimmy Johnson to Alex Bowman, which is another topic.
I'm gonna
That's kind of
back.
intertwined with Hendrick.
I'm gonna I'm gonna push you back a step there when it comes to the Napa thing and Junior Motorsports. That doesn't all come from Elliott. A lot of that had to
Well,
do
no, I
with
know that.
Napa was a DEI sponsor of the number one car, and they were at Ganassi when they went to Ganassi Earnhardt Racing, and
You Napa with the fifth. Do you mean Michael Waltrip Racing?
no, they were on a DEI car at one time. When Waltrip won the
Oh
Daytona
yeah,
500,
15.
that was a
15,
Napa.
not the
Oh, was
one. Yeah,
that?
15. That
Was
was
it?
the
Oh yeah, it was a
15.
15 car.
Pennzoil. Pennzoil was the number
Steve,
one
yes,
because that
Pennzoil's
was
number. My
Steve
bad.
Park.
Yeah, that's Steve Parks. That's my bad. But they
Napa
were.
went from DEI to Michael Waltrip Racing to I forget where. I think they went to Hendrick next because
But
they didn't go to Ganassi.
I'm
Napa
just
was not a
saying
Ganassi thing.
they were when the teams were together, but after Ganassi
Yeah.
bought it out completely, they left. But the only reason I brought that up is because it's not. I'm not saying they switched from this. I'm just saying that the Earnhardts had the
Oh no, I
ties to
meant
them
it came up
anyway.
through Xfinity with Chase is what I meant.
Oh,
Because Chase drove that one truck series race with them. I think it was the 04. Is that what the paint scheme was when he won his first race at Canadian Tire? And then when he went to Xfinity, it came up to the 9 car. So then when it went from Xfinity to Cup, it was the 24 Napa car. And then it went to the 24 9 car. So it has worked its way up
or
with Chase.
the 24-9 car. You mean
24
Napa
before
the
the
Napa 9
9.
car?
No. Chase used to be the Napa number 24 car.
I know.
That's what I'm working my way up the ranks. Is it used to be the number 9 in the Xfinity series. When Gordon retired, it went to the number 24 Napa car. And then when they hired William Byron to be Jeff Gordon or William Byron's or not William Byron, Chase Elliott's replacement to the 24 car, and Chase went to the 9. Napa went with Chase, and Exalta went to Byron because Exalta was William Byron's paint scheme in the Xfinity series in the 9 car. So when they did that move, it was very confusing. But if you follow the sponsor with the driver, they match up.
So
So when they
since
brought William Byron through the Xfinity series, he had the Exalta car, which is what he ran after Gordon retired.
since we're on
Or
the topic of drivers moving, did you see the latest? RFK is supposed to sign Ryan Preece.
gosh, I really hope they know what they're doing. I I would love to think that's a great move. At the same time, Ryan Preece really can't do much good. Although I
So
guess anything helps.
so that was a surprise to you? You didn't hear that one yet?
I had seen it. I hadn't really read into it. I didn't know that they had selected a driver. If they did select Ryan Preece, I sure hope they know what they're doing because I'm kind of surprised Ryan Preece is hanging around the Cup Series because
There
he's
is supposed
been.
to be an announcement soon. It hasn't been set
I
yet,
really
but
hope that's accurate because if not, I don't see Ryan Preece sticking around the Cup Series.
so that makes every driver from Stewart Haas
Taken.
taken,
Well, what about the
along
charter deal? Did you see
along
that
with
they're
all
supposed to be
of the
setting that
charters.
out? The charter is supposed to be set up by the playoffs, so it should be this weekend, which is like tomorrow. So I
So either
I really hope
or
NASCAR knows what, or not NASCAR. I really hope Roush Fenway knows what they're doing hiring him. If they do, because his performance is lackluster at best. I mean, I haven't seen the dude run up front like his other teammates at all this year. I really haven't seen him do anything. I mean, we've seen Barry, Gregson, Briscoe, they've all run up front at one point or another this season. Like they've been a front runner all season. If you could rattle off one race where they've mentioned Priest other than being in a crash, like running up front, I would
well,
love to see it because I cannot recall one
I
race this season where he has been able to compete for a win at any cost. I mean,
I
maybe a win for, 30th in points. So if he does win, he can move on. I can't see the dude performing well enough to run up front on a weekly basis.
to be honest, I think a lot of it has to do with him actually being a Ford driver rather than the top
I
guy
mean,
for the
there's other
job.
Ford drivers that they could have hired. I Nothing
Nobody's
against
left.
Priest because he's considered a professional race car driver and he's a veteran, I guess, at this point in the sport. At the same time, I I really don't think he's got much left in the tank for that. I mean, who was it? This somebody said they were still washed up in the sport, or maybe I think it was Kyle Busch said he's still a washed up dog in
No,
the sport, but he
he
still wants
said
to
he was.
win.
Yeah, he
I
said it himself.
I honestly think that Chase Briscoe or not Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece is below Kyle Busch when it comes to that. Like if Kyle Busch thinks he's a washed up dog, I still think that he's better than Ryan Preece because Ryan Preece really can't even get out of his own way. It feels like at this point is I'd love to think he could surprise me. At the same time, I feel like I've seen enough. I mean, he's just in his own way. He's almost to the level of Corey LaJoy, if I have to go that far. I cannot see it.
I I don't know. I mean, maybe if he has better equipment, I'm not sure, but you know, like I said, I think a lot of that has to do with Ford, but that also takes all of the Stewart Haas charters that are left
Yeah, that makes that easier. I just
because Front Row bought one, Trackhouse bought one. Now we don't know if RFK actually bought this or is leasing it, but I would assume that they're buying it. But
yeah.
that leaves 2311 SOL when it comes to expanding.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
would
they're
love to think that some of these teams are going to like with all these moves they're making. This is kind of those, move them up to fill seats to, take all the charters. I don't see any of these as really performance boosting for the smaller teams. When it comes to Spire, I I don't think any of these moves have really helped them. Um, Trackhouse bringing in SVG. I'm gonna be really honest. I don't think he's ready. I really don't think he's going to be able to perform. Even though this is a car he is accustomed to, the style of car, I cannot see him doing well on the ovals this year or next year at all. I mean, you're going to have Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Coda. I don't remember if Chicago's on this thing, and Mexico City. You've got 5 road courses. If that's the case, yeah, he'll lead the points, probably to win all 5 road courses. But then again, The rest of them are all ovals. He won't probably get a single stage point all year other than those wins. So sure, have 5 wins, have 25 playoff points. I can't see him having a single stage point at any race next year that on an oval whatsoever. Road courses, that's his ballpark, and we're just playing in it.
So, so
But
I
ovals, he's not even close to being a threat.
so I take it you're not a very big fan of Ryan Priest.
I'm not saying I'm not a fan of his, but I really don't think that RFK hiring him is going to help them at all. I think it's going to be more of a place to burn money than it is to, you know, make progress on your team. I kind of feel like this is going to be they were going up, they were making progress last year. They were climbing the hill of the roller coaster. Performance was going upwards. This year, plateaued out. Next year, if they've actually hired Ryan Priest, I see this as a step back. I really do. I can't see, you know,
Well,
maybe
geez,
Brad Keselowski and Busher make a progress, but I don't see Ryan Priest going with them. I could see
damn.
him. What
Give
is
the
it?
guys. I said, damn. Give the guys some kind of credit. I mean, that team can't really get any freaking worse, Nathan.
Who, RFK or Stuart Haas?
Yeah, they just started winning again this year. Like, look at where they.
I still can't. I would love to think that it was all performance. At the same time, you've got 3 out of your 4 drivers who have shown flashes of performance this year. By all means, we still have 10 races left. He could very well surprise me and show up at one of these races.
I mean,
But
Brad
until then,
K.
I can't see it happening.
Brad K. Getting the win at what?
Darlington.
Where? Yeah, didn't he? Didn't
He
he win
won
two
the throwback weekend
this year?
in he won the throwback weekend because Busher and Reddick came together. I
I thought he
I
won
think
two this year.
RFK has kind of no, he's got one. I think he's only got one.
And then him to come, to start the season off eh, at
I
Bristol, he was his highest finish before that win, being that he actually knew what he was doing to help conserve his tires because the tires were just falling off big time at Bristol, the first Bristol race, and
Yeah, Brad
and
Keselowski, his only win was Darlington in May.
oh, I thought he had a Talladega win. Maybe that was.
No, that was Reddick. Reddick won because Michael Jordan that was the
Oh no,
first win that Michael Jordan was at the track,
I'm thinking of their other car doing really good. That was Busher, where he
and that was
almost beat
last year.
Larson.
No, that was Kansas. That was Kansas with that record-setting closest finish by .001. It beat Ricky
And it
Craven
wasn't
and Kurt Busch.
and it wasn't even that, but they had to give it some kind of number.
Yeah, it was. They rounded up. Technically, it was 3 zeros and then that, so they rounded up to .001.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, it read zeros
Well,
on
he
not Alan
actually
Gustafson's, but
he actually beat him by 10 thousandths of a second rather than just 1 thousandth.
10 thousandths. Oh yeah, it was It was 3 O's and a 1.
Yeah, the fourth one would be
But
10 thousandths.
yeah, I thought it was two zeros and a 1. But I mean, I don't think Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher last year they were making a charge. They were making a statement. This year I feel like was a year of hopeful progress that hasn't come through. They ran up front and Chris Buescher, dude, if he has had any luck, it's been bad luck. He's been on the short end of the stick. What, two races this year, if not 3?
Yeah, but I mean, he essentially boarded a sinking ship in the first place. Look at how
But he
Stewart Haas
did
finished.
manage 3 wins. Buscher managed to manage 3 wins since his 1 win at RFK. or not RFK,
No,
front row.
I went back to the priest thing. You know, that guy, he boarded a sinking ship,
Oh yes,
and it just kind
I
of sucked for him. So I mean,
he went
I'm
from
kind of
JT Doherty to Stuart Haas. I don't feel like it was a sinking ship, but it started sinking after he got there.
and actually the sponsor of that car is going to be Kroger, and
That'll be interesting.
Ryan Priest was sponsored by Kroger at JTG. So maybe that partnership there also had something to do with them
Because I
signing
know
him.
that Kroger was leaving JTG, so
Yep.
that is possible that that was something in the background. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'm very skeptical of Ryan Priest being any good at Stuart Haas. I would love for him to surprise me, but being realistic from what I've
But
seen, he's kind of been driving lower tier equipment. And when he did have the car, the performance at Stuart Haas, he
well,
couldn't
and
really do
I
much.
I was surprised that Briscoe even got the win because, or has even ran that
He
well
knocked the wall
because
down a
he.
few times. I was quite surprised that he hung on.
But here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize that Ford has literally cut them off 100%. They've completely cut them off. Their computers don't work or anything like that. So they're
Oh,
having
I
to
didn't
do
know
everything.
that.
Yeah, they are having to do everything the old-fashioned way. You know, your own self. They can't get any information from Ford or any of the shared information between teams that are Ford. They can't get anything from Ford. Ford
See,
has cut them off.
that makes it that much better that they won that race. That's even more of a Cinderella story when it comes to that one. I just I really don't think Priest is going to do well next year. I would be happy if he, surprises me, but with
To be honest with
how
you,
many low performance teams he's driven for, that, when he did have good equipment, couldn't do much. I mean, he drove the 37 car, uh, when Stenhouse was the 47. He was the one who rolled over quite a few times. I'm pretty sure he's been on his lid at least twice that I can think of. I know the 37's rolled over at least once. I uh, I know he rolled over in the 41, but dude has a hard time keeping on all four wheels. I've noticed.
well,
I mean, I know
to
it's
be
not
honest with
his
you,
fault.
uh, I'm really excited to see Briscoe go into JGR, and
That's one I feel like will
I
be a good move.
I can't wait to see how he performs there, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing if Ryan Priest can actually improve, go into a little bit better team such as RFK. And it seems like they've kind of got their program in order again here this past season, and it'll be interesting to see.
Well, with Barry going to, I think it was the Wood Brothers. I think that's who was driving that one.
Yep, he's
I
going to the
I feel
21.
like that was the I feel like that's the best pairing because he came from a stock car background, the super late model background. I can see that because that's like old school, short track racing.
I
That
would
one
have
I
just
agree with that pairing. I
I
kind
would
of
have
like
just
that one.
I would have liked to have seen Childers go with him.
That's one that I would love to think would be there. I mean, I think Childers went to Spire. I forget who was getting Spire.
He will be the number 7 crew chief. Now it was announced that he was going to be Corey LaJoie's crew chief
I'm
when it
trying to
first
think
was announced.
who's going to
But
Spire. As I saw something
now
somewhere.
now that Corey LaJoie is not coming back, at least we're assuming because I did see. Remember we did speak about this.
Where they
Uh,
were regretting
where
getting rid of
yeah,
them.
they were second guessing that decision whether they should actually get rid of him or not. But
I feel
unfortunately,
like they should bring somebody from the Xfinity series. I really do. There are some guys down there that probably could perform. I don't. I'm not going to give
well,
names
one
just because I don't really know who I would pick.
no one of
But
those would
I
be.
know that they've had better racing in the Cup Series on a few different occasions. I
Now if
really
they
think that you know if you don't find somebody from the Cup Series to re-sign, I would definitely dig into the Xfinity Series because there are some talented drivers in there that could definitely make some waves.
They if they could get him to actually jump ship, I think Riley Herbst would be a good choice for that team.
For Spire, see, that's I feel like that is going to be.
Well,
I
he
know we had
brings
talked about him possibly going to 2311. In all reality, I could totally see that one happening, if not going to Gibbs. If something happened at Gibbs and they needed a driver, I could see Riley Herbst jumping over there because he's got the monster sponsorship. I mean, they've got Ty Gibbs currently, but I could totally see Riley Herbst going to Gibbs either in Xfinity or Cup Series. I think it'd be more Xfinity to start, but if somebody gives him the chance in Cup Series, I could see him taking Monster with him because they've got
Oh
that
yeah.
sponsorship. But I just, when it comes to all the Stewart Haas drivers, yes, I feel like it was a little shady how they just gave up on Truex. That Colpern is already, or not Colpern, whoever the crew chief is. He's already jumped over to Chase Briscoe. I felt like that was a little bit shady, but at the same time, Briscoe has proven that he could do good in decent equipment. Back when Stewart Haas was actually decent in the Xfinity Series, Briscoe came to play. He was one of those guys that could run up front and do battle whenever you needed him. Noah Gragson going to front row. I'm going to give that a B rating. Not the greatest pairing, but it is better than, actually I wouldn't even give it I'd give it an A grade. It's not a perfect. I can't hear you.
And we haven't even heard who their third driver is going to be yet. That's the thing
Who
about
for
front.
front row?
Yeah.
I mean, I did forget about that one. Uh, I feel like Gregson going to front row could be good. I mean, I don't really know
I
100%,
I
but I
think
feel
it'll be
like that
good
one
for
has
him.
potential.
I think it'll be good for him, but I'm not sure it'll be good for the team.
I feel like the best pairing wise was Barry and the Wood brothers, and Gibbs and Briscoe would be second best pairing. Like Barry got a heck of a good team, in my opinion. That's a pairing that I feel like would work out really well because they both came from super late model, which would be old school racing background. That one I love that pairing. That's a brilliant, you know, that's like a steal in a draft style thing. Uh, Briscoe going to Gibbs, I'm on the fence about. I feel like it's good, but I'm questioning it. And I just I don't know. I would love to think Gregson will be good. I'm gonna say it's a little less uh, exciting than the uh, JGR and Briscoe situation. I still feel like they kind of got whatever was remaining when it comes to RFK. Is I kind of wish that they would have picked a bet one of the other three drivers, maybe even Briscoe. Even then, I don't feel like that'd be a great pairing. But at the same time, you know, there wasn't very many options left. I kind of, when you're playing a, game of pickup on the playground, and the last person getting picked always feels bad for getting picked last. I feel like that's what Ryan Priest got. He was the last one standing that didn't have a ride, so they felt bad for him and picked him up. I I don't think it's going to be any good. I don't think it's going to make waves. I feel like it's just going to be treading water again. But I mean, then again, we've got Bubba Wallace, supposed to be a great driver, and he's torn up more cars than Tyler Reddick has. So I mean, my thoughts on that. I feel like he's just there to spend their money for them. But, you know, we have the same pattern every year. Starts out great, slides off, and all of a sudden gets hot at playoff after the playoffs start. But by that time, he's already eliminated. Once they're eliminated, they become hot again. Start off kind of slow and get hot at the wrong time, And I feel like that's unfortunately where some of these teams are going to end up being. I mean, it's kind of the opposite with Carson Hocevar. Started out the season absolutely amazing, and now it's kind of simmered off, where he's not as good anymore. I feel like he was one of the top performing rookies. I felt. Now I'm not so sure. His performance has kind of dropped off. I mean, he cleaned out Harrison Burton, so maybe that's what simmered him down a little. But I don't know. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I really had to cover. I know we're over on time.
Oh, we're
I'm
good.
not. I don't really have a whole lot really uh, playoff wise, other than the guys I think are getting eliminated. I This new schedule, I'm hoping, really does wonders. So I'm just hoping that something comes of this good next year, because with all these silly season things. Yes, I see you, Richard. Hi, Jonathan. But
Yeah, I've been commenting them saying hi, so I didn't interrupt you talking. So
you're good. Um, I I really hope this next season goes well. I don't understand the Mexico City thing. Hi, Ashley.
well,
I
here's my thing. I don't I don't care for that well, but it
I
is
think
what it is.
there's
We
going to
can't
be more
change it.
Daniel Suarez fans there because it's in Mexico than anybody else. I mean, let's think of it this way: all these, when they're doing the Super Bowl and they have all these shirts printed up prior to to show off who's actually going to win the championship. The three that don't win, they give them off. I feel like there's going to be an awful lot of knockoff shirts there because, you know, none of these people actually follow the sport other than Daniel Suarez fans. You know, it's going to more or less be an event that people go to. I I cannot see the typical NASCAR fan driving all the way down through there. I mean, there's
Oh,
quite a
absolutely
few
not.
cities down there that I wouldn't dare go through. But
Now, see,
I
here's the thing about moving the Clash. I think it was a great idea, not just because of, how much we like Bowman Gray Stadium, but
I don't know.
also
I feel we
because.
talked that into existence. I want to take credit for that still. I still want credit for that.
But I think one of the key factors in that move was not just because the Coliseum contract ran out, but also look at the attendance at the Coliseum compared to the weekly attendance at Bowman Gray. That place is packed every
Always
single week.
packed. And I feel like
So
that is just going to make it that much crazier. I mean, it's already packed as it is. Now bringing all the crazy NASCAR fans that show up to that race as it is, I feel it's going to be an absolute party. I mean, I'm still waiting to see when they're going to put tickets on sale, but I would love to see Bowman Gray be a staple on the schedule for at least the next 25 years. We always knew of the Clash as being at Daytona. I like this short track mentality for the Clash because it's an exhibition race, but I want to see Bowman Gray be on the schedule every year. I want this race to go off absolutely flawlessly. Heck, I'd like to see it be another All Star Race 2.0 where drivers are beating the shit out of each other, and it isn't even the regular season. We haven't even started the scoring points yet.
now I know NASCAR's talking about uh, upgrades they're going to have to make to the facility, and
I
it
mean, they're
would
gonna
like,
have to put a safer barrier in. I
but they're going to have to actually work on some of that concrete wall because some of it is. I was watching an
I've
interview the
seen
other
some.
day, and
Yeah.
the wall is like all it looks like a snake, and some of it's tipping over, and they're going to have
Well,
to
gee, I
fix
wonder
some of that.
why.
But
How many people have clobbered that? I mean, think about the exit to the pits. I mean, good lord, how many people have run into that tire barrier?
yeah, I can't believe the wall's still standing. To be honest with you.
I mean, I've seen people hit that, the inertia barriers, during a Friday, a regular Bowman Gray night. I don't dare want to think what a cup car would do when it hits that. I mean, that's going to look like Mark Martin at Michigan splitting the car in half. I mean, that's like I kind of that's the one of the things I would love to see them fix about that track is fix the end of that barrier. Put some, I wouldn't even say a gate, but some sort of, barrier for that wall just so you don't hit it. I mean, that's tight racing. I think that's the only concern I have about that is other than the walls, not being safer barriers. I I really want to see them fix that pit exit thing because that is terrifying. If somebody, gets sent off in there, there's not a whole
Yeah,
lot of protection. So I would love to think
that
that would be fixed.
I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm excited for next year is the clash at Bowman Gray.
That one's got me, I feel like that's the one that's got me amped up the most. I would have thought them adding a race to the schedule, like regular season, would have been good. I'm more excited for preseason than the actual season itself. I don't know if that's a I don't know if that's a good thing, but the fact that the Clash is going to be at Bowman Gray, they're going to bring it to the heart of NASCAR for preseason. I'm just hoping the weather is good for it because obviously, the years are getting or the weather's getting later and later in the year. I mean, we were getting snow in Pennsylvania during the Daytona 500. I
No, there's no track gonna get more than two
three
races.
races, no.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I don't think any
in
track has ever
theory,
had three
Charlotte used
races in
to.
history.
Charlotte used to because they used to have the Open, the All Star Race, and the 600. But that was it. I mean, technically, Daytona gets three races, technically, because they used to have the Clash, and then they'd have, the shootouts, and then they used to have the Clash, and then they had the duels, and then they had the 500 and the summer date. But, I mean, I can't see Dover getting 3 dates. I could barely see him getting 2 dates. Although I am
No,
very
and
excited that'll be the day after, the day after we get married, because I would love to drive out to that after the race. I would love to go to that. But at the same time, Dover really hasn't had a race that has made me excited lately. Like I don't know how I feel about Dover. Dover was one of those tracks where it was good. It used to be a great race, and I feel like it's kind of
it's kind of fallen
simmered off.
off. Yeah,
It's fallen off. Yeah, Richmond, Dover. What was the other one I saw that just felt
well,
they just it feel like it's just boring anymore. I mean, it's not with this next gen car. It sucks. I mean, with the repave in Atlanta, that was an unexpected change that I don't know if I like. I kind of like the old school Atlanta where, you actually had to drive the car, not in a pack. Like go back when they had, them sliding off the corners. I don't know if I like this pack racing. I kind of like the old, you launch it off in there and slide up to the wall type of thing. I don't know if I like the pack racing at Atlanta. I mean, a lot of people like it, and it is kind of a nice change. But I still like the old school Atlanta. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I love that one. So, I
well,
mean,
and then what other places have they added? What, they're going to Iowa next year, I believe.
Iowa they
Didn't
ran this year. That was one that it lived up to the hype, I think. I mean, other than the
Rockingham
wrecking
is
every
supposed to
few
be
laps,
back?
Rockingham's only for the Xfinity and trucks, which sucks. Because I would love for that to be a Cup Series race. I feel like that would be a great race. Honestly, when it comes to North Wilkesboro, I don't know if I like it for the All Star race. I mean, yes, it brings back the roots, but I kind of liked it being at Charlotte, where it was for $1 million, and you could actually you know hang it out there and drive. I feel like I feel like it's a little too small for the All Star
I
race.
Here's my opinion about that. I think that should rotate at different tracks each year,
I
and
can get on board with that one.
that will
That I
show
can get on
you
board with.
what a real all star is.
Yeah. I don't I know it's controversial. I do not like the All Star race at North Wilkesboro. That's one that I used to watch all the time, and now it's not really one that is as entertaining as I would have liked it to be.
I
I
wouldn't
thought it
mind
was be a
seeing.
great deal of them going back. After the first one they did, and then this one they did this past year, I don't know how I feel about it. Now, granted, with the new tire upgrade when they were in it at Richmond, that made it interesting watching them come back.
And
But the
I was
tire
just
fall off at North Wilkesboro, I wasn't really a fan of.
gonna say I actually wouldn't mind seeing the all star race at Richmond.
Honestly, I feel like that would not be on my list.
No, and I'm not saying every year. I'm just saying at least
Yeah.
once. I That's why I say to rotate it. The only place that I probably wouldn't take it is a road course, and the about the only oval that I wouldn't take it would be Martinsville because it would just be a shit show.
Oh yeah, Martinsville, no. I can't see it
And I
being Dover either. I know they have some lights there, but I can't see the All Star race running at Dover. I would love to see it on a short track. Martinsville and Dover are not on my list. Bristol, I really can't see on my list because Bristol's race that they had in the spring kind of sucked. I mean, the tire fall off was insane,
yeah, I
but
was
there
there.
was more pit stops than there was racing, and I that was one that left much to be desired to me. I liked Bristol's race. I liked it when it was dirt. I know a lot of people didn't like it when it was dirt. At the same time, when they went back to pavement, I was not thrilled with that race. I thought that was an absolute shit show. You could run like 20 laps on tires and you'd blow a tire. I mean, it was a disaster. I
Yeah,
was surprised.
a lot of
I
that's
did
on
not like
Goodyear
that.
too. Goodyear made the tire too soft. So
Yeah, I'm hoping that's a fluke because I mean that was the first race back from the dirt track version. But at the same time, I'm really hoping
well,
we
and
don't have that problem again at the
the weird
playoff
thing about it
race.
was they brought the same tire as they did the year before on in the fall race or summer race, whenever that that they had the race after the dirt. They brought the same tire to the spring race,
And it fell
and
off like
it
crazy.
also, in my opinion, a lot of that had to do with the tire or the track temperatures and
Temperature,
such,
yeah.
especially that the track is concrete rather than asphalt.
Yes. I I don't want to say I wouldn't want to see the All-Star race back at Bristol. At the same time, it was not my favorite version of the All-Star race. Honestly, I liked Charlotte way better, but at the same time, I do understand that they wanted to change it. Honestly, if Bowman Gray works out for the Clash, I would be okay with them getting rid of it for the Clash and putting it as the All Star race
Nah, I don't think
because,
that would be good.
or even running it twice. I mean, it's an All Star race. It's you're shortening up the field to go for $1 million. You know, boys have at it. That would be where to have it at. I mean, you want to
I
see
don't think it
Battle of
would
the
be a
Titans?
good
Here's
race.
Battle of the Titans. Or even if they went back to Charlotte, I feel like
I mean,
with the
first of all,
way that Coke 600 used to be
there's nowhere to
for the
make pits. There's nowhere to make pit stops at Bowman Gray. So, I mean, unless they're going to revamp that entire facility and add a pit lane all
I
the way
don't know
around,
about that one. I don't
like Bristol,
do they
like
have to make greens flag pit stops for the All-Star race? That was the next thing I was wondering if they're just going to
I
and we've already
they
got stages.
they change the rules on that every year. I mean, it's getting ridiculous when it comes to that part of it. But
I mean, the only way I could see them doing it is doing Bristol style. They put makeshift pit boxes on the front stretch and back stretch or around the track. I mean, I wouldn't say put a wall up for, in between the racing surface and pit stalls, but, obviously put a pit wall for the drivers to come over. That would be the only thing I could see them doing is, putting the pit box, the war wagons in the infield, covering it up like they did with the Coliseum, put some sort of flooring down. And then obviously you could roll, you could have your pit stops
They've
behind the Arco barrier type of thing.
they laid fresh asphalt each year for the Clash at the Coliseum, man.
See, but that's what I mean is they had a full, you know, infield. That's the
Yeah,
one
you didn't see.
I don't want to put an asphalt infield. But you know how they put the hard floors on the inside of a stadium, like for a concert or whatnot. Obviously, the cars are not going to race on that flooring, but you could roll all your war wagons in there. You could have all the safety vehicles on the outside, but you take the essential, all of this is a mandatory pit stop. You come in, everybody stops at once, type of thing. But you go in, you do your pit
Uh,
stop, you come back out. There's no racing off pit road for the All Star race type of thing. Obviously, with the pit crew challenge somewhere else, but I didn't like it at Texas. I feel like that was kind of boring. I wasn't a fan of it. I really wasn't a fan of it at Bristol when they experimented with
to
those
be honest with
lights.
you,
That was dumb.
I wouldn't mind seeing Texas just disappear anyway.
I don't know. I feel like Texas was one of those races where it was, you
You know,
know,
I
treacherous. I would love to think that, if they do a repave, it would be great. At the same time, it really, you know, Texas
hey,
last year was
what's up,
definitely an
Michael?
on the edge of your seat type of thing.
Thanks for tuning in, Michael. But
So
yeah, I I am surprised that they haven't held it at Vegas.
I don't know if I would. I mean, that one would be okay. I mean, you get the Vegas lights and everything, got the strip.
Oh, that's my point. Yeah.
He's with the blasphemy at Texas. I don't know. I like Texas, but I don't feel like it was. I don't feel like it was a great All Star race. It was a good one. It ranked higher than Bristol for me. I will say that. I still feel like the Charlotte, back when they did the All Star race at Charlotte, I feel like that was good. If we're going to rank All Star races, I would put Bristol at the very bottom of the list. Maybe North Wilkesboro above it, and then Texas, and then Charlotte. Texas was good. It was not my favorite. I kind of didn't like it, but at the same time, it did produce some decent racing. But when it came, I mean, let's think about it. You get out of the groove even the slightest bit, you're going for a ride, as we saw in the spring race, and then we saw, I think it was last year during the playoffs with, what was it? Was it Larson or was it Bubba went for a ride and backed into the wall hard? I think it was Larson, and then Bubba got loose and ended up choking and losing the race. I liked Texas. I don't think it would be a great all-star race again, but maybe a reconfiguration. I feel like they just did one though. But
They could always take it to Atlanta.
no, we're on board with it going to the Madhouse. I'm excited about it. I know Russ has said he's pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner. I feel like that's what the Clash is going to be, a clash.
Michael doesn't like it, but according to his comment, he actually doesn't like them going to the Coliseum. Now I mean the Bowman Grave. Now I think that the Clash is okay there, but I wouldn't hold any other races there as a Cup Series or even any of the
I want to
three
see how
series.
the Clash goes before I progress more on it. If the Clash goes well, I feel like they could run it as an all-star race to try it, the rotating thing. But I do feel like it will be a better Clash than an all-star race. At the same time,
I
if they can work out the bugs of the Clash, it could potentially be a really good, you know, knockdown, drag out battle that the All Star race used to be. I mean, heck, Rusty Wallace, I think it was Rusty Wallace and Daryl Waltrip battling out for $1 million. Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt passing the grass, iconic moments, iconic battles. I feel like that could be another historic moment type of thing. You know, the All Star
But
race is known for historic moments. There isn't
also,
really any historic moments lately. I mean, controversy with Texas, but
but you got to
I,
remember, like a lot of those historic moments come with the speed of those racetracks, though, too. And Bowman Gray, you're not going to get very high speed at all. It's
yeah.
flat, there's no banking at all, and it's short. So,
To be fair, with the no banking, that would make sense.
I mean,
I still feel like Charlotte was the best one.
all those
I mean,
iconic moments come with speed, and
yes,
they're not gonna show at Bowman Green. Now, there's going to be some fun moments, and I think it'll be a really
yeah,
good clash. But I would not go any further than the clash.
yeah. I don't know of any track that would be good for an all star race that we have currently. I don't. I didn't like the thought of going back to Bristol for the all star race. I thought that all star race in particular sucked. I really did.
You
Maybe it
know,
was just
then
because the cars were different,
now that
but
they've actually reconfigured Phoenix, that might not be bad.
I I don't know about that one. I feel like that's a little. I feel like that will be okay, but I'm not sure on that one. I'm iffy on that thought.
But that's why I said I'm a big fan of rotating it. That way
Yeah.
people don't get bored with it.
And to Michael's comment about the other home tracks, I don't know of any at least that I can think of, that will make a good track for him. I mean, was it Mansfield was the one that the ARCA series runs on? I feel like that one would be okay. Just a local short track type of thing.
Mansfield doesn't exist anymore, bud.
I'm trying to think with the one that they used to run. I
Yeah,
thought
that
I
would.
thought Mansfield was the one that was kind of medium banked. It didn't have much of an infield to it. I forget what track it was.
uh, Hell, they turned Mansfield back into dirt for about 2 or 3 years, and then it closed altogether, and now it's
Yeah,
gone. So,
I'm trying to think what track they used to run on. I think it was Mansfield, but I'll have to look into that one, Michael, because I'm not
okay,
familiar with
well,
that track.
how about Angola there, Michael? What do you think about that? Now, I've been to Angola once.
I mean,
It wasn't too bad of a
quite
place.
honestly, if we're gonna do exhibition style races,
He said, "Hell no."
I if we if we're gonna experiment with tracks and Bowman Gray does not work out,
Take it.
I'd love to see them just do an off the wall style race. How they used to do the prelude, just for a fun pay per view race. You know, what if they just stuck them out there in legends? You know, have them mix it up.
Throw the
You
All
know,
Stars on. Throw the All Star race on the dirt track.
I mean, honestly, just have them. I wouldn't say go karts because that's a little silly, but throw them out there in I wouldn't say NASCAR stock cars because NASCAR on dirt was not the greatest. I feel like it was more of a mess. But have them get out of their comfort zone. Put the stars of NASCAR in something they're not used to driving, or at least not all of them are used to driving. You know,
Put them in the SRX cars.
I mean, there you go. Send them out in
Every,
the SRX cars. You know, at some weird track. Uh, but I honestly, and I still haven't seen anything about the IROC. Supposedly they were supposed to come back, and I have yet to see that.
hey, Richard, I told you when you sent me a picture of your glass and saying one was down, I told you one was enough.
I I feel like the SRX cars would be a really good. I mean, if they still exist, obviously, something like that would be great. Just take them to some random track and do it. Bring these superstars of NASCAR to your local track. Like Michael was saying, I do kind of like that idea. But I don't know. I like the Clash. I feel like it would be a great way to experiment rather than use it at the All-Star race. I
I do,
I don't
you know, and I like you were saying, I gotta agree. I gotta agree with Michael on that. I do like the idea of taking the Clash to a
a home track,
a lesser known local track, and then if you are gonna switch places each year, there you go. That'd be
What
perfect. You
about
know,
Irwindale? That one track they had in California. I don't know if that one still exists.
I don't know much about out there.
Didn't I know Irwindale used to be used for like a filming for like, I know Jay Leno wrecked that one drag car there. Like something like that would be kind of interesting. Take it to a smaller track. I mean, obviously NASCAR, would have to revamp the track to make it, safe for the drivers. But, take the SRX cars there or something other than the next gen car just to have fun. I mean, we used to have the burnout competition in rewrapped stock cars. They were just wrapped specifically for that event.
I mean, if NASCAR wants to bring back the
He's got a point with
crowd,
IRP Truck Series races there. I actually like that idea. Take it to the Indy, what was it? Indianapolis Race Complex. I think that one stands for. I forget. Isn't Stanford the one in Connecticut, Michael? Didn't they race there with SRX? I feel like that's the one, but I don't remember. But I do like that idea. Those three tracks in particular, because I think I've seen Berlin. Those three would actually be great. You know, bring it to a track you're not used to seeing. Most of the guys in the Cup Series don't have experience on those tracks. I mean, unless you ran
well,
the
and
SRX series at those races, you've never seen that track. And it's not
one,
like you just go drive to it. There's no real tracks close to it other than, Indy. Stanford, you have to go to New Hampshire to even be close to it, I feel like.
but here's the thing about it is if you were to do
Berlin,
something
I did know that was in Michigan. I forgot about that one.
if you were to do something like that, you know, that would actually help NASCAR because they want to try to get their crowd back and also gain new followers, you know, with the younger crowd. Well, okay, let's take it around to different places and see how exciting it can be rather than the same old bullshit and the same old places every single year, week in and week out. You know, like Michael just said, connect to the local people. That's
And
what
I like
NASCAR
that
did
idea.
in its that's what they did in its roots, and that's what made NASCAR was the local guys. You know,
I hate saying it, but I feel like NASCAR should take a page out of SRX because SRX was doing something right with that. They were connecting with people that don't normally get to see the races. I mean, I was kind of, I do like, I don't know about that last one. I don't know how the logistics of that would work with open the pits up because I
after the
mean,
races, he's saying after the
I'm not.
races.
That's what I mean is I'm not so sure that the logistics of that one. Because I mean, we got to realize this isn't the local dirt track style. People aren't gonna people don't know a lot of those guys. I mean, obviously after the World Outlaw races, a lot of people know them. But these guys are on national television every week. So if they announce they're going to have the clash there, all these people are going to travel in to do that. I feel like that should be a wristband type of thing. I mean, I understand with the late models and sprints as a team owner, I would be concerned about that. I would, obviously maybe set up, the ropes and stuff or the gates around each pit box like they do now, or have security so people don't get crazy. But even have an autograph session available for everybody who bought tickets. I mean, granted, the drivers would be there forever, and you'd probably have to limit seats. But I do understand the
Now
bringing it to the
you
people,
could
maybe limit,
you
you
could
know,
do what Michael said also along with what you said. You know, set up ropes, you know, and an autograph session, but do it in the pit area at each hauler, and the drivers need to be standing back there or sitting back there by
or
their
even
car,
even
and there
have
you
them
go.
do like a red carpet thing like they used to do. Have them walk down. You could have them stand along the fence. As they walk by, they sign it. I feel like NASCAR would probably use it as you buy an extra pass to do it, like an extra pit pass type of thing. But
I mean, do you really think that Kyle Larson has all the support he does by snubbing his fans?
oh
Absolutely
no.
not.
Now, to be fair, I
Absolutely
don't
not.
know if they'd ever. I don't know if that track would ever close if they left Kyle. If they, did it post race, we'd be there till 3 o'clock the next morning.
Dude, we were at the Brad Doty race the last time, which was the last time that Larson raced here at Attica Raceway Park. Attica's 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah,
I go there pretty often, and you would not believe the line after the races
just for him. Yeah,
at this guy's trailer. And I'm going to tell you what, the man pulled into pits after the race. He took 15 minutes or so to compose himself and get out of his driving suit and change into his clothes. And he came out and started at the front of the line. He moved. He just walked along the line and signing autographs. He
yeah.
didn't make everybody move with him because everybody will try to sit there and keep him forever. But that guy stood there or signed autographs and everything for at least an hour afterwards.
See, I agree with what
Where
Michael
whereas
said,
I have seen local drivers, literally guys that race there every single week, that are complete assholes and tell people no, too bad, so sad, blah 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 blah.
and that was the
And
next thing I want to get to. Is I don't know how many of the drivers in the Cup Series now are the same breed as what Larson is. Larson, like Michael said, will stay until everybody leaves. Now flip that around.
absolutely, and I've
What
seen
if
that.
what if they left it where Bubba was down there? The amount of insults he would get does concern me. You know, Chase Elliott, he's known as the most popular driver in NASCAR. I I feel like that'd be the same situation with him, except on the other hand, I don't know if he's as fan friendly as Larson is. I don't know of very many drivers who are as fan friendly as Larson is. I mean, Denny, he's kind of stuck
Well,
up in my opinion.
that's just too
Bowman,
bad. You
I've
got to
heard he's
you,
an asshole. I'm I'm not so sure how many
but
drivers are actually like Larson. Larson is known as a very fan friendly guy.
we're
I
not
mean, some newer
saying
guys are like that, but these
we're
other guys are not exactly the nicest drivers, I feel.
we
Or at
aren't
least
we
not as
aren't
nice as Larson.
we aren't saying that they are required to be there. We're just saying that it's required to open the pits up and let people come in and try to
Yeah.
associate with them. If they want to be an asshole and snub their people, then let the fans actually see how much of an asshole they really are. See how
I can agree with that.
you know let the people get to know them. You
I
know,
like the thought of that. That part I could understand. If they're going to be an asshole, this is your one time to show, that you're an asshole, and then at that point you lose your fan base. So I
and I'm gonna
like
tell you
I like the way
the
you're going with that one. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
the best NASCAR driver that I have met when it comes to fans is Larson, and the worst I would say is Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart is a huge ass. You can't even hardly say hi to that guy. That
I
guy
think
at the dirt
he's
track,
he's definitely up there with the worst. I would if he's not the worst, he's close to it.
exactly,
I gotta
Michael. I
say,
agree with that.
Bubba, Denny for sure. Denny is. I almost feel like Logano is the same way.
See,
Is unless you're part of his charity, he wants nothing to do with you.
like Michael's saying, guys like Larson, they earn their fans, but
Yes.
guys like Stewart that are complete asses when it comes to actually meeting face to face, or guys like Wallace, they feel that they're entitled to their fan base, and they're not.
Yeah, and I agree with that. They definitely give the entitled vibe. I will say I met Carson Hocevar at Daytona. Kid's only 21 years old. He is probably up there with the level of fan interaction as Kyle Larson. Happy go lucky type of guy, he focused on business, but still took time to have a conversation with us. He signed our ticket. You know, I don't know if he was more happy to be there or if he was, actually that kind of thing. That kind of interaction is I haven't had really any interactions with him since,
And
but there's a lot of drivers out there who have that, sees a fan, willing to take time and talk to him type of thing. I
uh, oh, here's something that you
You're right,
guys
Michael.
may.
He really doesn't have a fan base, and I agree with that. And I feel like that's some of these new guys could show some of the veterans, you know, a little bit more how it's done. Is I
Okay,
feel like
now
that's where they have the upper hand is they can bring these fans in and take it away from people who are assholes.
here's one that you probably don't know a whole lot about him, but here's one you guys might disagree with me on when it comes to drivers and interacting with their fans. And unbelievably, so he may even be. If he's not better than, he's at least equal to Kyle Larson. Would actually be Casey Kane. I was at Fremont
I
over
agree with
here.
that to
I
100%. Actually, I didn't think of. I mean, I don't think of him really because he isn't in NASCAR now. But when you mention that, I do
I haven't
feel
had a
like I
I
do
haven't
really
had a
feel like
chance to meet Bell, but I do want to. But
Ashley had an
no,
interaction with Truex once, and it kind of surprised me how I wouldn't say human because I know they're all human. I'm not sure what the
well,
word I want to use is,
back
but
back
Truex
to
Truex gave Ashley an autograph just because she was standing there. She just kind of stuck her thing out, and she said it was her very first race, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Enjoy the race." But by the time I had turned around, he was gone. But he could some of these drivers can pick out a new fan like that and make them want to come
but
into the
see
sport. But it's like a
but
light
see
switch. Good,
uh,
sorry.
when it comes to Kane though, I was at Fremont Speedway for an All Star race one time. All Star, the old All Star Sprint Car Series, and Casey was there. Well, we ended up getting rained out, and this guy stood in the rain, the pouring rain, the lightning, talking to me for almost an hour. It was literally just over 50 minutes that we stood there just talking back and forth about anything and everything racing. And he was soaking wet. I was soaking wet. I actually had a Kevin Harvick shirt on and I didn't even realize it when I was talking to him. And his car and team were loaded up, ready to go, waiting on him in the hauler. They were waiting for him to get in the hauler so they could back up and leave. But the guy didn't push me away and say, "No, I got to go." Yeah, yeah. The guy stood there and we just bullshitted. We had a hell of a conversation, man. About sprint cars, NASCAR, everything. He was actually a really, really great guy, dude. And I'll tell you what, people don't give him enough credit. He may not have been the greatest NASCAR driver or even a sprint car driver, but as a person, that gains a lot of respect. So,
Sorry, I'm reading what he wrote.
no, you're fine.
Um,
And I,
I
I
agree with the Casey Kane 100%. I hadn't really thought about that one because I know he used to race in NASCAR, and I don't go to very many of his races since he's gone to dirt. Usually when he's in town, that's when I see him, type of thing. But
and another
I have
another
heard that he is very good with his fans. Also, I know a few of our friends have had interactions with him that are, speak volumes at how nice he is. I mean, I that's how I remember him when he was in NASCAR. He was a quiet, down to earth kind of guy, and I think that's what really speaks volumes to how good he is with the fans. Is he takes time almost to the level of Kyle Larson. You don't see him anymore much because he's obviously not on TV every week. But
well,
from what I remember,
here's
he
the
was
here's the other thing that and it actually put me over the edge when it came to respect for Casey Kane is he was always my stepmom's favorite driver. Well, my dad and I got hired because we actually knew the owner of the All Stars, and my brother was actually the general manager at one time. So we got hired to go run some security for Casey and Tony Stewart, which Stewart told us we don't need you. get out of here. So we just made sure we focused on Casey, and his line was just as long as Larson's on
Yeah.
that night. And my dad actually had this sign that he made for my stepmom. It said, "Happy birthday," and her name on it. And he wanted Casey to hold it, take a picture with it. And Casey agreed to do that. And my dad said, we'll wait till you're done." My dad didn't want him to put us in front of all these fans that are waiting. But Casey said,
Yeah.
"No, let's do it. Let's do it real quick. You guys have been really good to me, and I appreciate what you've done tonight." And he took that picture, he autographed it, and that was that. But
And I feel like in the dirt racing world, there is quite a few of those guys still. I wouldn't say it's there the level of Kyle Larson and Casey Kane, but there is a few guys out there that are nice like that. I mean, I know that I've had interactions with Rico that were it was kind of cool to get his autograph. I'm trying to think who else I had.
and what you were saying about Truex and giving her an autograph is because she was right there, or whatever. But you got to
Yeah,
remember, when you try to interact with these guys before a race is
yeah. Well, that
not a
was
very
before the race, and that's why I was kind of
yeah, and
surprised
it's not a
how
very very
interactive it
good
was.
time to. It's not a very good time at all
We
to
were just
interact with a
standing along.
driver.
We were standing on the track as they were doing. They were bringing the drivers across. Before driver intros, obviously, as they were coming across, and we just happened to get his autograph while he was walking across the track to in Martinsville. They have the little step thing you step over, and obviously some of those guys are they're busy and they're in their zone. Uh, I I got Rico's only because he was parked right up in the corner of the pits at Lernerville. And I kind of just, stood there because I didn't want to, obviously step up and go, "Hey, can you sign this?" I wanted to wait till he was done. I mean, I'm not people who know me, think of me as an outgoing guy. That's one of those things where I don't want to, be outgoing and push my way in.
Yeah, we don't have a time limit anymore, Richard.
But some of the guys in the World of Outlaws, in the All Stars, in High Limits now are really good with their fans. Others, I would be intimidated to go up to because I don't want to, more or less be in their way and it costs them the race and they blame it on some random fan who won an autograph in the pits.
here's
One of
a
those
here's an
drivers on my list is Brad Sweet. He is not exactly my favorite driver when it comes to driver interactions. He's a bit intimidating when
he's
it
a
comes to
he's a crybaby anyway.
that's I know that people have had interactions with him on track. He is not exactly my favorite to go up to. Like I don't make it a point to avoid him, but at the same time, I don't feel like he's very fan friendly in my opinion. That's just me. Maybe people have other interactions that, are if different. But obviously the local guys will take time to sign autographs because they're, creating a fan base. But there's some guys out there who are well known that still treat it like they're new to the series and they have the fans, great interactions. Um, I'm
Because
trying to think who the guy was I met the other day.
like we've said time and time again, those are the guys that understand that that fan base is what gets them to where they are.
I
Without
forget
that
who it
fan base
was.
and without that support, they they have nothing.
Yeah.
They might have a hell of a team behind them. That doesn't mean anything. If you don't have that fan base and a loyal fan base, you don't sell merchandise.
Yes.
You don't.
Well,
And
I
when you
forget who
when
it
you
was.
have
Whoever
that,
was driving the 5C.
but when you have that and you're not egotistical about it, that just makes you that much better of a driver.
I mean, I'm trying to think what the driver's name was, but one of the all stars or not the all stars, one of the high limits guys that showed up for the race. What was it last
Exactly,
month?
Michael.
Right after the whole incident at the Butler Farm Showgrounds. Uh, I can't remember the guy's name now. I'm drawing a blank, and I should remember it. But the firefighter who was killed, he
Oh,
he put
Corey.
Yeah, but I can't think of the driver's name. But he put Corey's name on the car, and when I walked down and said, "Hey, I really like your car. It was really nice of you for doing that monument thing." And I had like a 5-10 minute conversation with him because he was getting ready to get in the car. But it was kind of nice to have that down to earth type of I'm there. He's willing to talk to me as a fan. Because I knew Corey. I played softball with him. He lived right down the street from me. But it was kind of nice to have that. It was kind of nice to be able to talk to somebody who is very well known, goes on tour type of style, and still have a conversation with them like you're a human being and not some crazy, not like you're some crazy person, that you can have a one-on-one conversation and it actually feel like it means something to them.
Well, come
And
on,
I
Michael.
like
You got to buy a Switchin Grooves shirt, Michael. Come on.
we need to get one of those for him. We got to get we got to start like a GoFundMe to get this thing off the ground eventually. Just kidding wise, but it'd be so cool to have, people signing our shirts. I think we only have like two of them right now, but
What do you mean?
imagine
It's
people
better.
having.
It's better when people come up to us and have us sign
Well, that's what I mean is,
our
but
shirts.
I mean, you could have them sign a switching, say Kyle Larson signs a switching groove shirt. At that point, you've got a celebrity signing our shirts,
I got Lars's autograph right there on this one.
on your
See,
switching groove shirt.
not
See,
my.
I haven't had mine long enough to have have one sign it yet. I mean, I plan on wearing mine to the race next week. If I end up making it, I hopefully I can.
He signed it
But
in black, so it's about gone. You can't really see it, but
see, I've washed mine enough times that hopefully it won't wash out at all.
well, I told him to sign it up here on the writing, but
Yeah,
he
I
was
don't know
he
if it would
was
really stick either.
he was in quite a hurry though, because
Yeah,
I mean there was actually weather coming in,
yeah.
and they had just beat the weather, so he was actually in kind of a hurry. It's not that he didn't want to sign people's stuff, but
But
he was trying to
back to
get.
the point that Michael brought up about Bell is I have actually seen good interactions from Bell. I obviously there's not a lot of them that I've seen because I don't know of very many interactions. But Bell is one I know of that has good interactions. I feel like a lot of the dirt guys, Larson, Briscoe, Bell, I feel like those guys have a lot better fan interactions than a lot of the pavement background guys. Elliott, Reddick, Bubba. There's a lot of those guys that I don't know if they even know how to interact with fans. These dirt guys, they've been that's how they've grown up. They know how to interact with their fans, and I feel like that plays to their advantages.
Unfortunately, I can't right now.
But I don't know. I would love to think that the pavement guys know how to interact with the fans. At the same time, it really makes you wonder, do they actually know how to create a fan base if, the guys who have been in the sport as veterans? I question it. Obviously, the new rookies, they're creating a fan base, so they have to. But I don't know about some of them. It makes you wonder sometimes, though. But
Yeah, I,
we should
I,
probably end up short eventually.
yeah,
I've rambled on long enough, I think.
I couldn't bring him on. We barely got your camera back, to be honest with you. So I'm
Yeah,
afraid to bring someone else on and knock the whole thing out. So, but we do need to cut it off here and call it
because
a
I have to go
show
to work in
probably. And
12 hours.
yeah,
So,
so
all right. Well, with switching grooves, we've had our fun. I'm Nathan Johns.
and I'm Russ Fritz. So hey, don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, and like, share, and subscribe to our new YouTube channel at Switchin Grooves for both of those. So
And if you have to be in the area next week, Switching Grooves is going to try to make an attempt to make an appearance at the Commonwealth Clash 2-day show next. Was it 7
I'm
days from now
I'm
at Lernerville Speedway? So if in the area, stop by, say hi.
and we're excited to do it. Hopefully, the weather holds out and we actually get the chance to do it. But Lernerville Speedway, our first time going live at a track, doing a show at a track. I've done a couple of quick lives from a track, but nothing major. It'll be our first time doing an actual show from the track, live in person. So I'm excited for that to actually happen. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time, and trying to talk to a few people about possibly making an appearance. So we'll
I
see how
have
that
one guy
goes.
who I forgot to send him a message tonight, but I have one guy who is willing to jump on the show every once in a while.
So
I forgot to mention that part.
I'm actually excited about that, and hopefully the weather holds out, like I said. So, but anyway, that's going to be it for this show. So, guys, we're going to call it a night. And like I said, I'm Russ Fritz from Switchin Grooves,
And I'm
and
Nathan
say
Johns.
and we say race hard, stay safe, and we'll see you there. Good night.
Bye, guys.